kind of presentation, and we were talking to each other about which are the Brazilian stereotypes abroad. And it's a very funny experience for both of us, because we live this conflict of being part of the stereotype ourselves. I mean, I'm a Brazilian myself, who loves samba, 90%, who dances samba, who loves feijoada. I mean, the full package. Although I don't have the beautiful tan. And I used to make lots of jokes, and my friend Chris here knows that we love to play the Latino guy. Never worked. I always try to give this impression. So here we are going to talk, I think, very naturally about this, presenting some of these stereotypes and talking about them, and then we can interact. I think that this is the easiest way for us to.
Can I make a question?
Already? Yeah.
Are you a good footballer?
I do have a saying, when you don't play football, you have a wooden leg. I have two. I mean, I am ashamed for my country, I'm conscious of that. I try to discount him playing music or something. How would you?
The same.
And it's actually, listen, I'm so proud of Brazilian football, and, you know, so not all Brazilians play football. That's stuff.
Yes.
So I also think that for many historical reasons, the image we have of Brazil was kind of built by Brazilians and by foreigners talking about Brazil and giving a portrait of Brazil. So, so this is the ultimate stereotype of the Brazilian by Disney. During the World War II, 1942. So it was all part of this process of presenting Brazil in this very funny way, in which Zé Carioca is going to, he's a musician, of course, he lives in a favela, and here is him, Copacabana, playing his music, and he's going to introduce Donald Duck to the cachaça, that's the Brazilian national drink. It's a very healthy cartoon for kids. The effect is more or less like this. And he embodies the whole ideas about Brazilians, that Brazilians are, we foster this idea as well. The Brazilians are lazy, are charming, they like the good things about life, they are bon vivant, and this kind of thing. So here are some stereotypes we can talk about.
Yeah, I think the first image we got from Brazil, apart from football, it's about the beautiful woman and also the good food. And I think there is a very strong relationship between food and the way we behave in our society. Actually, we use food to name a lot of things, a lot of behaviors, a lot of people, and the food is very related to sex as well in Brazil. Basically, Brazilian people don't make sex. We eat each other. A beautiful woman is not a hot woman, like in a very cold country would say. It's a pasty woman. And we have the bitter people, we have sweet people, and also try to show how people are through the food. And I believe probably one of the strongest images of this relation is this picture. Basically, it shows the sexuality. Oh, sorry. This is other thing. I'll tell you later about that. Yeah, it shows the sexuality behind the idea of food, but also it shows the social place of women in Brazilian society. In the kitchen, looking after the house, and the men are always in the outside world, in the outdoors world, exploring and providing the house with money and the necessary food for cooking, etc. So this is very strong, and it shows a bit about this imagery. And recently, over the last 10 years, we have a lot of apparently beautiful, because it's not my taste, woman, were called mulher melancia or mulher melão, like mellow woman, or how to say melancia? Watermelon woman, and things like that.
Yeah, the national vedette.
Exactly, the national vedette. Let's go ahead with this. That's here?
Perfect.
No?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. I think I missed something here.
No, that's absolutely fine.
Okay, so we've selected 4 or 5 stereotypes, generic stereotypes about Brazil, and the first one is the carnival.
Yeah, we all know carnival from the parades in Rio. This is another thing that's very important, is that Rio was a capital of Brazil precisely in that moment I was talking about, the 40s, 50s, when we were trying to find a Brazilian identity, because we were nationalists by then. The new state, we call the Estado Novo period. And so we have this, we export this image of Brazilian carnival as being, you know, a spectacle, a deluxe spectacle with the most beautiful women and musicians and this all sort of thing. But actually, it's a popular party. So in Rio, you have the carnival here, the parades, yeah? And you have a popular parade here, the Cordão da Bola Preta, with 2 million people. 2 million people go out to party. It's considered one of the biggest parties in the world. Street party. So, unfortunately, you can't see a thing. But this is filled, all the streets with people.
And actually, even in this kind of carnival, which involves a lot of money and a lot of profits as well, there's a lot of hard work behind, work from favelas, and people working all over the year to produce this big party. But at the same time, the street party is much better, in my opinion, because you need to live that party rather than watching on TV or in the sambódromo. So basically, it's all about the creativity, because people create their own customs, and they go out, and then when we take underground, we see everyone wearing some kind of costume, and it's very fun because people spend all day, and actually the carnival don't last only 1 week, and that's something interesting. Actually, it's a kind of a carnival feeling in the Brazilian way of life. We can live carnival all over the year, because it's not only about the party itself, it's not about the celebration and the costumes, it's about the way we cope with life. If you see that people in Jardim Gramacho, you see they are always smiling, always making jokes, always trying to cope with life in a kind of happy way. And that's the way most of us cope with life. And I think this is a very important part of the Brazilian behavior.
Yeah, even there are recent anthropologists that try to explore this idea of humor in Brazil. And for a long time, this was kind of neglected by the elites and everything, upper classes, because they used to think, you know, if you're not serious about something, you're not going to have it, you're not going to get or succeed or everything like that, or anything like that. But indeed, if you look back in Brazilian history, the best bits were about these smiles and how to deal with situations without being violent or serious. So this, it's part of the malandro concept. You know, Zé Carioca, he has streetwise, he's funny, and he do tricks and everything. It's more or less the archetype of malandro. You know, you have rascal. Rascal, you have the word rascal, it's more or less like a malandro. So it's a very old, actually, archetype. If you go back to Middle Ages in Portugal, well, where is Portugal now, and Spain, you have these popular heroes who have nothing. They don't have strength, they don't have power, they don't have anything, but they have wits and sense of humor. So it's more or less a continuation of this stereotype.
That's cool. What about the beach?
So, the beach. This is actually a picture from a postcard in Rio. It's dramatic. And here is this actual picture from the beach. So the thing is, there's this image of the fitness dictatorship, ditadura da moda, ditadura do corpo, etc. in Brazil. That's quite complicated, and that gives you a wrong idea of the beach in Brazil. And that's all about beautiful women going to the beach, or beautiful men, actually. I've been there recently with my girlfriend. She was amazed on how many bodybuilders they were. But the fact is, the beach, everybody goes to the beach. And so, doesn't matter. It's kind of alternative for anyone in Rio, for example, to your hard life, to your the problems you might have, etc. At some point, you're going to the beach on Sunday. It's a kind of ritual. This is probably from a Sunday. And if it's 25 degrees, no one in Rio goes to the beach because it's cold. It must be like 40 degrees, 35 degrees, or something like that. But you see, these all are pictures from Rio still. And the reason why Rio is projected as this reference in Brazil is the fact that it was the capital. And Rio was the capital.
It's still the cultural capital.
Yeah, and it claims to be the capital of cultural capital of Brazil, but the whole industry. Yeah, no, but the whole industry for culture, well, not the whole, but you know, the main TV, telenovelas, which are very important, and all these things, the musical references is Rio. But Rio was not only the capital of Brazil. I don't know if you know that. Rio was once the capital of Portugal. And the old Portugal realms. In 1808, if I'm not wrong, the royal family from Portugal fled to Brazil. And so Brazil became the capital of the Portuguese and Brazilian empires. Soon after that, it became the only empire of the southern hemisphere. So lots of weird notions here.
Yes. Just for your attention, what they are wearing, we call dental floss. Okay? And this idea of the democratic space on the beach is, in my view, contradictory, because although the beach is a space for everyone, we have a lot of territorialities in that space. We have a lot of divisions of the slices of the beach. So basically, that beach we see the beautiful bodies and the beautiful people. It's not the same beach we see in other areas of the city when the poorest people access. So people are not mixed up in the beach. Yeah, it is segmented by social classes as well. So when you visit Rio, you see that clearly. even in your first day. So that's very interesting, these kinds of divides.
Especially when you change the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Because there, you know, Copacabana is easily accessible to everybody, but Ipanema, Leblon is certainly not. So there's this thing.
Okay. The favela. Favela is very well known, especially because of the City of God, the movie, but also because of the news about violence, drug dealers in Brazil. But it's not only about that, and actually the image of violence and the very dangerous youngsters, I think it came from City of God, and a lot of the mass media imaginations over the last 20 years. Just because Rio is a huge city with a lot of drug consumers, so of course drug it's a big business in the city, and we have a lot of criminal groups operating favelas. But the reality of favelas is also made of very hard work people, people who wake up very early and they prefer do even the most humiliating job rather than join a drug trafficking group. So we have this sort of situation. And this is Favela da Rocinha. It's probably world famous favela, but like the beaches, we have a lot of difference among favelas. Rocinha is a kind of low middle class neighborhoods, compared, for instance, to Santa Cruz or other places in the city where you have really poor people living under the worst situation. The favelas we saw in the movie are like favelas in Santa Cruz or elsewhere. It's not like in Rocinha. Rocinha is a kind of middle class neighborhoods, and over the last year, very very fashion.
Yeah.
Very fashion favela.
Now you have tours to favelas, like safari.
Safari, yes.
And oh gosh, they call it safari. So, and some people, I heard some people protesting because they went to the favela and it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
So they took a telepheric to the place where you watch the city. And it wasn't that bad. I was about to ask you, did you ask for money back? So some people ask why favelas, these people here need to work there.
Yeah.
This is the reason why, well, one of the reasons why you have favelas.
I think this is a nice picture, of the inequalities in Brazil, because of course you have the side by side, a very wealthy neighborhoods and a very poor neighborhoods. So it's different. There are cities in Brazil like São Paulo, when you have a belt of poverty around some areas. But in Rio, this is very mixed up. And I think it adds a kind of cultural component because the favelas are also producing culture and sharing and being kind of quoted by the middle class.
Yeah, this is fantastic. For example, samba came from favelas. Well, at some point. And today it's the musical identity of Rio is samba against bossa nova, more or less. Not with favelas now we have funky as well. And most people don't realize, but bossa nova is a kind of acceptable samba. The beat is the same, but the lyrics leave that struggle behind the problems. And let's sing the beauties of life in our apartment in Ipanema. It's more or less like that, as you can hear. But I'm not talking about the musical quality, but it's a music for, that you would play for your friends in this very fancy neighborhood, and not samba. It's a very interesting thing. Although they are like twins.
The football. Yeah, there's a big contrast between the big stars and the daily football children play on the street. It could be a football ball. You could play
easily.
Easily. I used to do that when I was a kid. Yes, it's not difficult. And actually, I think that's a reality of most of young people, poor young people. They look at football as a kind of aspiration for their lives. So everyone wants to be Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, and in the end of the day, it's of course very difficult. There's a lot of exploitation from the clubs because they hire these guys very young, pay very low wages, and no one's going to be Neymar.
Yeah, not all. Making propaganda for Gillette.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so samba is usually presented as this hysterical, funny, and pleasant kind of music. The joy of life and pleasure and etc. But in fact, the origins of samba are also very melancholic. The guy who founded this samba school is Cartola, and Cartola is precisely known not by the very cheerful songs, but about for the very melancholic moments. And this beautiful portrait himself of these stories in Brazil. Anyways, I think these are, I should go there and talk about it, but no. Let's just go back and talk like 5 minutes so we can listen to some music, which is much,
Great, thank you.